I love that statement about a hand reaching into darkness to pull another hand into the light. That's you. That is you. And you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. So what will you do to build this belief? How can you build yourself? Because when we talk about the greatest thing about For Life research, we talk about transfer factor, right? Transfer factor is not the greatest thing of For Life research. It's not. It's the you factor. The you factor. You. Transferring you into other people. That's right. You have incredible potential. Most people will live on this earth and die on this earth and never realize their potential. Don't join them. What a shame to get to the end of your life and never know who you were. And so my challenge to you is this. When someone asked me the other day, well, what do you do? I said, well, you need to have an agenda. Oh, yeah, I got an agenda. Every day I wake up, I write down the names of people I want to call and talk to and go meet. Now I say, well, that's fine. Yeah, sure, we have to do that. But where are you on that agenda? Where are you? Who are the influences in your life? What are the books that you are reading? Do you have a library in your home? Have you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Have you ever read that book? That's right. What about Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins? Have you ever read that book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. Have you ever read that book? I could go on and go on. I've got probably 1,000 books in my library. That's right. Those are the influences of my life. Who are the influences of your life? And every day you've got to pump that in your brain. You've got to become just like those people. I've always believed if you want to be successful, simply study and model what successful people do. And you can do it. You can do it. Do you believe it? The other thing is, watch your association. You know, it's hard to fly like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys. That's right. I remember when I got in this business, I was showing my brother, who's an educated engineer. I'm glad he's not here today. No. I showed him my printout. He said, oh, don't you get me into that. Don't you try to get me on one of those. And I said, oh, no, brother. You got it all wrong. I'm just practicing on you. Then I'm going to go get me some good people. Yeah, that's what family's for. Practice. Somebody says, should I get my family? Absolutely, you should get your family. Try it. Practice on them, then go get some good people. That's right. See, I don't worry about rejection. I was told by my sponsor, if I went out and got 100 no's, I would be a very rich man. I said, 100 no's? Really? He said, yeah, by the time you get to number 100, you're going to be a pretty wealthy guy. Your checks are going to be big. So that's how I feel about rejection. Somebody says no, I say, thank you. You put me that much closer. You know, the thing is, I found when I did that, it's called the takeaway. You know, all of a sudden then they want to join me. Oh, I really didn't mean no, you know. Well, I'd like to spend my remaining minutes talking about my story. And when I came into network marketing, I graduated from high school. That's as far as I went in education. So I know there's a lot more educated people in this room than me in terms of secular education. But when I got started, I had a business, a cleaning business, had some employees under me, and I was pretty happy with the way things were. I was sort of in my comfort zone. And then finally I had a friend take me to a meeting like this where I saw thousands of people, and it just blew my mind. The whole idea of network marketing and financial freedom, it blew my mind. But the thing was, I wasn't ready for it then yet. I wasn't ready for it. I was in my comfort zone. But the one thing it impressed upon me is that you can make a powerful financial dream come true through network marketing. It wasn't until about a year later that my two major accounts that I had wanted to save money. And you know what they did? They said, goodbye, Jeff. And for the first time, I found myself with no money. I had nothing coming in, nothing. And I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I sold off my equipment, and I was depressed for about a year, just thinking about it. My company went into bankruptcy. I couldn't save it. And I remember when I even came home one day and my wife looked at the messages on the answering machine. There was 100 messages from my creditors. She said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'll show you." And I walked up to the answering machine and I unplugged it and I plugged it back in and I said, "Wow, look at that. It went back to zero." That's what I did. Adversity will shape you. Adversity will make you great. And if you would have saw me back then, it was really tough. I only had one store I did then. You would have seen me mopping the floor. If you would have walked up to me, went back in time and said, "Jeff, you're going to be a multimillionaire. Jeff, you're going to be a world traveler. Jeff, you're going to be in Orlando, Florida on this day talking to a group of people," I'd have said, "Well, thank you for your kindness, but just say no to drugs." I'm telling you, it was tough. I sat on my porch one day when I heard about David and Bianca's company, their products, and I was convinced this was the one. I was absolutely convinced. The only problem was I had no money left by that time. And I was negative and thinking about, I'm broke. And then finally a voice in my mind said, "Will you shut up? We know you're broke. Now let's do something about it." Your worst associations can sometimes be you. And so, all of a sudden I prayed, and then when I got done praying, then I was sitting on the porch. I looked out, I saw the only thing left from that company was a junk truck sitting in the driveway. The tire was flat, the motor didn't start. I kept the window down so the neighborhood cat could sleep in it. That way I show God I'm trying to do something, right? Can't do much good. And then I thought to myself, well, this is what I'll do. I'll sell that junk truck to the junk man, and I'll use that money to get started. I called the junk man. He came out and gave me $400 for that junk truck. I put $200 into products to get started. $200. Keep that in mind. The other $200 I bought groceries with, because at that time I was very thin. I wasn't eating too much those days. And I got started. My sponsor was kind to me. He knew I couldn't afford a phone bill, so, hey, he mailed me a cell phone. The only problem was I didn't get any reception there. And so I would drive up in the country, up into the farm hills of Tennessee, to some farmer's place. I would open up his cattle gate, drive my car in, close the gate, get the notes out on the hood, and start making prospecting calls and appointments with people. That was how I did it. And that was my executive office suite. And the hygiene wasn't so great, because as you can see, when I talk, I like to walk. But in that office, you have to watch where you walk. You have to really watch it. I'm talking to somebody, and all of a sudden, this is a great opportunity. Those were very challenging times. I was several months behind on my car payment. And that month, I had not paid my electricity payment. I can remember one day I heard a knock at the door, and I opened up the door, and this man said, Sir, I'm here to collect your check for the electricity. You haven't paid your electric bill. And I said, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry." I said, "I'll tell you what. Let's go out to my car. My checkbook is in my car. And I'll pay you." "Oh, okay, sure." So we walked out there, and as we walked out there to my car, I looked. Where's my car? My car's gone. The bank had come and got my car. And I looked at the man, I said, "Where's my car?" And he looked at me like I was crazy, like, "Why would I know?" And he said to me, "Sir, you look like a man with problems." Well, there was an old man, an 80-year-old friend of mine, a very sweet Christian man who felt sorry for me at the time, gave me some money to get my electricity turned on, but he also gave me a beat-up old car that he never did drive that much. And that was the car that I used to go out and meet with people. And it was the kind of car I didn't want anybody to see. I would park it away, and I might walk, 5 blocks to wherever they were just to meet with them. I also remember when I had to do a meeting in Ohio, I had the oil changed in that car, and as I was driving up the interstate and I was just thinking about, what am I going to do? What am I going to say at the meeting? How great the meeting's going to be? Well, he didn't tighten down the oil filter lid, right? Okay, so all that oil's spewing out. When I'm driving down the interstate and I'm having all these dreams of victory and how things are going to get better, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, bam, bam, and I'm off on the side of the road. My motor died. And guess what I'm doing on I-65? I'm doing this. Everybody knows what that is, right? And I finally hitched a ride to a place where my father had his business. And I said, hey, can I borrow a car? And he looked at me and he said, son, I think it's about time you get a job. Those were hard times.